Okay, and good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to people in Europe and other time zones and those listening in maybe through the audio links. Welcome to the Living in Oneness Summit closing ceremony. This is going to be so exciting. We've been looking forward to this for months and just, deeply pondering all of what we can bring to this hour, and we've got a lot. So get in a comfortable place. We've got a really, really exciting hour directly ahead. Today is day 12 of the Living in Oneness Summit. It's our final program. I'm Steve Farrell, the Worldwide Coordinating Director for Humanities Team. I'm one of the hosts of the summit, and I'm here with Dee Meyer and John Thomas, who are the other hosts of the summit. You're going to hear from them shortly. Over 17,000 people have registered for the Living in Oneness Summit. Registrations are still climbing. We have a large listening audience here with us today. The Living in Oneness Summit has been about how we can come fully alive as part of the divine. And this program is the grand finale. If you've missed some of the summit, we are going to share cliff notes of some of these moments that have been extraordinary during this 12-day summit where we talk about living in oneness. We're going to be going right into the program here in just a second, so get ready. I want to thank each of you, the listeners who are listening live and others listening via audio links. We are so appreciative to you. You all have helped make this summit the extraordinary summit that it has been by just sharing your heart energy, your comments and questions and feedback. We've received so much feedback from all of you, and thank you. As a reminder, there are free replays for 48 hours, and then there's this $100 discount for the summit packages here. That means with a discount, it's $93 for the silver, $173 for the gold, and $223 for the platinum package. The upgrade packages allow you to listen again and again to the wisdom that's being shared and to share maybe your favorite pearls of wisdom with family and friends. These do include MP3 links, transcripts, and CDs that are available for the 30-plus leaders from this year, and then the Platinum package also has last year's leaders as well, including Panache Desai, Ken Wilber, Urban Laszlo, and Joan Borisenko. And I thought I'd mention on a personal note, my birthday is next week, and probably just like for a lot of you, your significant other comes to you and says, well, what do you really want for your birthday? And you kind of hem and haw, well, I don't know, I don't really need anything, or I'm not sure, or whatever. And so that's just been true for me. My wife, Stephanie, was saying, oh, come on, tell me what you want for your birthday. And I, a couple days ago, said, gosh, what I would really love is the Platinum package. I've been doing, many of these interviews, but there's just been so much wisdom and insight and heart energy shared that I want to listen to them, and also for a lot of them, I want to look at the written transcripts and just really kind of have there in writing some of the key wisdom that's shared. So I just thought I'd share that. If you're on Instant Teleseminar, I invite you to put your name, city, and country in the question window on Instant Teleseminar. Please also share your inspirations that you have from the Living in Oneness Summit and questions that you have for Dee Meyer, John Thomas, or myself. We'll be reading your names, cities, countries, and inspirations during the hours, and we really want to hear from you, especially now. We have the whole summit long, but we'd really love to hear what you want to share with us here as we're in our closing program. So because this is such a special treat, really, to spend this particular hour with you. Here's the agenda for the hour. Each of us, the hosts for the Living in Oneness Summit, we're going to interview each other. We'll do a little introduction. We're going to share some questions that get to a little bit about our life and these jaw-dropping moments during the 12-day summit. I'm going to go first, and then Dee Meyer and John Thomas will come right after me. After this, we're going to bring in your inspirations, comments, and questions. Then we're going to tell you a little bit about a couple of other calls that we've planned here in the next couple of weeks that we have not shared to this point. We'll tell you about those. And then the final 10 minutes of the call, we're going to bring in other leaders. We're going to bring in your comments and questions. It's just going to be acknowledgement and thank you time. And here we go. Let's go ahead and jump right in. And Dee Meyer, over to you.
Thanks, Steve. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce you to Steve Farrell. Steve co-founded and led two high-growth technology companies based in Silicon Valley in the 1990s that were featured in INC Inc. 500 and included some of the brightest minds in Silicon Valley. but he walked away because he felt he could create a new dream based on the divine in life that all of us on the earth can manifest together. Steve leads Humanity's team based in Boulder, Colorado, that is focused on awakening ourselves and the world to oneness. Humanity's team is an international spiritual movement dedicated to promoting the understanding and application of oneness for the purpose of advancing a mature and compassionate global humanity. With over 100,000 members in over 150 countries, Humanity's team undertakes its mission by developing awareness-building campaigns, educational events, and other transformational programs. Welcome to the Living in Oneness Grand Finale, Steve.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you for that kind introduction.
Oh, you're so welcome. You know, this has just been such an incredible time. Steve, we would love to have you lead us in a 1-minute to oneness centering process to really kick off this call.
Okay, awesome. I would love to do that. Thank you, Dee. And I want to just invite everybody. Everybody probably has a pen and paper handy for some of these jaw-dropping moments we're going to get to. But before we do that, I invite you to just close your eyes or leave your eyes open if you like. But drop all thoughts of plans, agendas, lists, any to-dos. Drop those for a moment, and let's all just feel our crown chakras open as we feel this flood of love, divine energy that is just coming down, being beamed down on each of us. Just imagine and feel that love and light and healing energy that is God's presence, that is divinity itself, that's beaming this light down through each of us, through the tops of our head, through the bottom of our feet. We can feel that light go into the center of the earth. Let's feel it connect our hearts and our hands. Let's just consider a big virtual light that's connecting us, all of us around the earth, those of us that are listening to this program now live and later. Let's feel that light that's streaming down through us, connecting our hearts and our hands, and now connecting over 100,000 people that are part of Humanity's team all over the world, and all of the other like-minded and kindred spirits who are doing this incredible work in oneness, living in oneness. Just look at that golden light now right in front of us where we can see the earth and that light that's beaming down through us, connecting us all over the earth. Just a golden earth now in front of us. Let's just breathe into that here for a second, and we can open our eyes, and we'll come back into the questions here. There's a whole bunch of comments already coming in. I want to just share a couple as they begin interviewing me here. Let's see. First, Bonnie in Castro Valley says, this summit has inspired and empowered me. Love, hope, and compassion for myself and others are the big results for me. Thank you. A bunch of other comments here, too. We'll get to some of them here shortly. And Dee and John, back to you.
Great. Thanks, Steve. So you were an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, California, and experiencing tremendous success. Why did you walk away from being a successful entrepreneur in your early 40s to lead Humanity's team and do spiritual outreach globally?
Gosh, let me share, Dee, that it was an easy decision for me to make. This Living in Oneness Summit is such a great example. We're here with all of these leaders talking about living in oneness. Many of you, I hope, got to listen in to this program with Tim Freak a moment ago. It was truly extraordinary. It was an experience of oneness where you can just feel the divine that was streaming through each of us and through our conversation and connecting us with all of you, the participants. That was a little taste of oneness, and we felt that throughout the entire summit that's now 12 days old. So this experience of God, of divinity, of healing, of light, of love. And I had that experience back in the 90s when I was an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. I happened to be in the right place at the right time. Experienced two companies that grew, one all over the United States and the other one all over the world. I was the founder and chairman of both companies, But candidly, this experience of oneness is, 1,000% of what that experience of starting and running a fast-growing company is like. So, just as we're recommending inviting people into oneness through the summit, through our other programs, in some ways it was very easy for me to accept my own invitation to step into oneness. My journey began as something very personal of wanting to live that way, and but I'm in these rooms that you all are in where parents are asked, do you want to leave this world to your kids? And parents, shake their head no. In today's world, they say no. And I could see that this invitation, this in some ways missing message that God and divinity are in life, that there's one presence that we can come into compassionate service to each other, was the thing that that not only could, but can and is healing the world. So that's why I left Silicon Valley, and I'm so glad I did. I've never looked back.
So, Steve, it's John here with a question. And, during this year's Living in Oneness Summit, we put more focus on spiritually conscious business. And as you know, I've really enjoyed being a part of this and working with you, having come from the corporate world myself. So why why is it important that we expand our focus in this area?
First, John, let me say I'm so grateful you came on and are the Conscious Business Coordinator because you've brought so much to humanity's team and so many ideas and programs that we're, as you know, in the process of implementing. So gratitude to you because we're going to do a lot more in this area of conscious business because of you. But to your question of why was it important for me to want to expand the focus of this summit, as we know, businesses are providing the jobs. They are creating the economy. They're, in a sense, pulling the train on the world in which we live. And I think at the present time, businesses are all motivated by profit. That's what drives them, their bottom line profit. We need a new bottom line. We can't have businesses just focused on profit. We need instead to have a focus on, as a beginning, do no harm. And then, really going further than that, because there's so many challenges in today's world, businesses should be focused on healing and nurturing life on Earth. That's what the focus of business should be. And I say that as a former business person myself. So we need a new bottom line for business, and no better way to provide a new bottom line for business than to focus on presence. Sometimes people talk about the 3 Ps. Of course, the first P is profit. It's what businesses are based on today. And when we add the other 2 people and planet, it looks like a much prettier picture. But the question is, how are you ever going to get a focus on those 3, profit, people, and planet? And my answer to that is the 4th P, presence. And presence is nothing more than just seeing through the eyes that I'm guessing all of the listeners on this call and that who have been part of this summit look through these eyes that see God, the sacred divinity in each person and all of life. When we see that, when we see presence in each other and in our earth home, as we know, that's the thing that's transformational. It changes everything. And then as business leaders, of course, we're going to focus the business on nurturing life. And yes, profits are important. Again, I'm a former business person. Profits are very important, but let's put those profits in the context of what's most important, which is nurturing life. I want to also mention, just come back to you, John, that one of your ideas, there are many, but we really need to support all of these leaders that are awakening in business around the world, at the Intels where you came from, and the Googles and the Facebooks and the little businesses, the soul entrepreneurs. And you were so right about that. And, of course, through your leadership, we're developing programs to support people that are awakening in business.
Well, wonderful. Steve, what has been for you some of the key moments during this summit, during the Living in Oneness Summit?
Boy, I get to go first, so I don't want to be a pig in the trough here. I'm going to share some, but I'm not going to share too many because we're going to talk to you, Dee, and to you, John, and I know you've got many extraordinary moments here, but let me just share a few. Jennifer McLean opened the summit on Wednesday the 7th with this focus on healing. I love you. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. Where we're looking at these parts of ourself that are unhealed and that hurt, and these wounds. And it was so beautiful. As you'll recall, even our leaders running the call were crying in the background. It was that beautiful. Not one, but the leaders running the call, plural, were crying. And I think she was speaking to what not only we can do with those unhealed parts of ourself, but what God does with these parts of ourself where we're upset, where we're hurt, where we're wounded. It's what that experience, when I was sharing experientially of just that, letting that God's light, come in through our crown chakra and just heal us. That's our invitation in every moment where we're feeling hurt or wounded. And Jennifer had an extraordinary process for that. After her, Bill Urey was up the next day. People may not know him. He is just extraordinary in many, many ways, but he started an organization called the Abraham Path Initiative, and it's about the Abraham of the Old Testament of 4,000 years ago, who's the father of the monotheistic faith. And Bill Urey was talking about how Abraham of the Bible, of the Old Testament, would talk about oneness, and how his whole focus was on this human family, this compassionate family, this one family, even one with God, and it was extraordinary. That was Bill Urey on Thursday the 8th. Deborah Rosman was on later that day, Thursday the 8th. People don't know her name. She's the president and co-CEO of HeartMath, which is an incredible organization many of us are familiar with. And HeartMath helps people to deal with this extreme stress that people are under in today's world, and they've developed these programs that are tangible that talk about how we can bring our hearts into coherence. And there was so much that she shared that was extraordinary relating to these HeartMath experiences. By the way, she shared that light workers, all of us on this call, need to take special care to take care of ourselves, because we feel a lot of stress just often overreaching and trying to become involved in these healing processes. I wanted to mention Steve McIntosh's program last Sunday. He works with Ken Wilber and other integral thinkers, and has created a historical perspective around modern-day spirituality. It was extraordinary, to say the least, just how the spiritually progressive movement is seen by the media and by the earth. Extraordinary. Patricia Cota-Robles this past Thursday started the morning, and she's amazing. Oh, my God. And just what she described, how on December 21, 2012, which is that we think of the Mayan calendar when we see that date, that we victoriously accomplished this facet of our divine plan on that date, that cause was accomplished, and now effect needs to be accomplished. And this is where we all come in, and she talked about how we need to uplift these misqualified energies. We've got to lean into this together to heal the earth around us, and that's how we're going to usher in this new era, which is our destination. That, as Patricia shared, there is no question. We are victorious. It's only now a question of how long, how arduous the journey. But our destination is clear. Totally extraordinary. Gay Hendricks and Katie Hendricks, who were amazing. I wanted to mention them. Gay Hendricks came in with, did I go to the fullness of my ability to love and let myself be loved? Just think about that. At the end of your life, is that the question you're going to ask yourself, or what? Did I go to the fullness of my ability to love and let myself be loved? Whether you're a priest, a father, a business person, whatever you do in life, isn't that likely the question that you'll ask yourself? It was extraordinary. And then Katie Hendricks, his wife, talking about how all of the beautiful ways that the oneness can manifest in our own lives and in our relationships, but how we really want to embody it and feel it in every cell of our body, that's our big invitation. I'm going to just leave it with that. There were other key moments as well, but just in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there.
Great recap. There's and so much more that we can touch on. But Steve, where do we go from here? What are key things you're focusing on, and what suggestions do you have for all of us and all of the listeners
In the interest of time, I'm just going to be very brief. I'll talk about what I'm focusing on, and people can take this for what it's worth. You know, the important thing for each of us is that we go within and get in touch with what is ours to do. But for me, three things. One, this aspect of really going within, you know, receiving God's love and light and healing energy, that the God within, the kingdom within, the heaven within, and just really letting that love and light enfold me always. And I want to just say to people that find that concept foreign, that maybe don't always feel in touch with that I know that's there for each of us always. And if we'll just take the time in our overstimulated world, we can, you know, God will connect with us in the most extraordinary way. The second is then to just express that love and light out in the world. We talked about that during the summit in so many ways. Just, you know, God only has our lungs, our hands, our feet. And so it's really left to us to be that loving presence, hugging people, smiling, helping people, really, you know, seeing that oneness is more about the journey than the destination. So really being a loving presence. And then the third thing is what so many of the speakers invited us to do. It's so important right now that we uplift and transform these misqualified energies. I'll give an example to keep it tangible. In Nigeria, these girls that were abducted. You know, it's easy to just fall into fear and despair and see that, but no, we've got to uplift that energy. Let's see them with God's light around them, angels around them, and their families coming back with their families, taken care of, supported, guided, loved, healed. With all of these challenging things that we see, that's the big invitation to us. That this is how, in Patricia Cota-Robles' words, and Bruce Lipton, who was the scientist that came on right after him, they actually said exactly the same thing, which was consciously let's uplift and transmute these misqualified energies, and together we'll create the heaven on earth that we've all dreamt about. So that is the end of me. We're going to now segue over to Dee Meyer, and we're going to just interview her here briefly. And thank you all, thank Dee and John for that. Dee Meyer is the Humanities Team University Coordinator, and she's dedicated to finding and offering the finest education and learning opportunities for living in oneness. Dee's passion is creating events that nurture the heart and soul, connecting people all over the world. Before joining Humanities Team, Dee owned an award-winning landscape design business for 15 years, and prior to that she owned another award-winning catering company in Seattle. Dee left the business world behind because she was called to be of service to our planet and the people on it. Dee is also a photographer, an artist living in Colorado with her daughter, Andy. And Dee, it's a privilege to interview you. And what got you involved with Humanities Team?
Well, Steve, you know, I found Humanities Team through social media originally. I found the worldwide Facebook page, and I was so inspired by the postings, and so I started interacting, and then was invited to the dinner meetings from Nanette Kennedy, and I realized all of the work that you and Nanette were doing, and I started volunteering, and then I developed such a great friendship, first with Nanette and then with you, and next thing you know, I'm stepping in more and more, you know, every day it still continues.
Okay, awesome, and you can see it.
Mm. What do you, Dee, a big transition into this work, and what do you love best about the work you're doing at Humanities Team?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. I think that I truly feel I'm living my purpose and path. Like I believe I was divinely guided to Humanities Team and the message of oneness. And with each and every day, there are new opportunities to meet extraordinary people like you, John, and like all of these guests on the telesummit. And also, there is a daily opportunity to learn new things, new challenges. It's really terrifically gratifying to be a part of this movement, to be a part of such a huge team doing extraordinary work.
And I've got the next question for Dee. Before I do, let me bring in a quick comment from a listener. Grace in Vancouver says, congratulations on such a great summit. I am really finding ways in which I can create further additional understanding of oneness in my life and in my business. Thank you. And Grace, thank you for taking the time to comment. And again, each of you on the call, if you're on Instant Teleseminar, put your name, city, country, inspirations, and questions in the window, and we'll get to them. Dee, I wanted to ask you about something that's very sobering for me. Last September, you went through this situation that people might remember where you lost your home and all of your belongings in the Colorado floods, and Jamestown, the city that you lived in, was completely devastated. Everything that you had was washed away. What are some of the tools that you have used to remain connected and centered, and how did that work for you in the most tragic of circumstances?
Well, to be honest, Steve, it was a teeter-totter there for the first 2 or 3 months where I would, go through the process. You feel the anger, the fear, the sorrow, and eventually acceptance and surrender and knowing. But I think that meditation and prayer had an enormous impact. My friendships, you and Nanette and everyone on the team lifting me and my family up. There are other aspects, that just really releasing some of your anger and fear, having your temper tantrums, yelling at the universe, those sorts of things help you get rid of it and to cry and, then go back to your meditation and prayer and your friendships. So having developed extraordinary friendships and having remarkable people in my life has been a tremendous help. And also creativity with photography, Photoshop, painting, writing, and being in nature have all helped too.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, Dee. Few of us can imagine having our whole home and life turned upside down like that, and it's so beautiful what you shared, how to use that for greater growth and unfolding. It's just beautiful. And so I had this other question here, though, for you. As coming off the summit as one of the summit hosts, you had a particularly involved perspective. So what were the key moments for you during the Living in Oneness Summit?
Honestly, John, we could talk for weeks about all of the great moments and the wisdom our leaders have shared, our oneness leaders have shared. But to really bring a sharp focus to my most impactful aha moments, I would say that Kenji Kimura brought in this main phrase where you get into yourself, into a deep place of relaxation. You invoke that you don't have to know anything, that we are moving beyond the thinking process, that you can get to this complete level of trust. It's a trust and surrender to the universe. That was really huge for me. And also, Rachel Jane Groover shared a technique that I really, truly loved. She said that you start by giving your partner just 1 minute of undivided attention. You sit in a chair across from your partner and look deeply into your partner's eyes and think about how much you love this person. You exude that energy as you're looking deeply into their eyes, and you take turns. And then you ask your partner, how did that make them feel? So I really loved that. And then Debbie Satofsky just had this one simple sentence that is so impactful. It's impossible to be in fear and in gratitude at the same time. Huge. And throughout the summit, we've been sharing the extraordinary oneness tools with all these people. There's over 17,000 people have registered. So just imagine the shifts and changes that are going to come about by people starting to implement the oneness tools that have been shared during this call. It's just amazing.
Yes, it is. And now we're going to thank you, Dee, for sharing your heart. We're going to now speak with John Thomas. I'm going to introduce him and go to question number one. Before I do, I'm going to bring in a quick comment from a listener. Wow. This is Genevieve in Quebec, Canada. Says, thank you so much for all the knowledge you have passed on. It has all convinced me to cure myself of bone marrow cancer causing chronic lymphatic leukemia. Blessings. Wow, Genevieve, thank you so much for sharing that, and God bless you. And I know that you've got angels around you helping you as you undertake that healing mission. I'm going to get to many other comments here shortly. I'm going to introduce John Thomas now. John Thomas had a profound realization of oneness as a teenager that ignited a lifelong spiritual quest. This blossomed into spiritual awakening in 2002 and a commitment to living in oneness in all areas of his life, in business, in society, with his family, and his 35-year-old loving relationship with his wife, Lorraine. John felt called to live a spiritually conscious business career, and as a corporate leader at Intel Corporation, John helped advance eco-technology solutions that benefited both the planet and corporate bottom line. He also taught meditation and awakened leadership principles for innovation, risk-taking, and collaboration. He worked with the Awake at Intel team to help lead this highly successful program. 2013 was a year of transition. John experienced a powerful revelation and call to serve the collective awakening of humanity. At the end of the year, he retired early from Intel as director of the Energy Technology Strategy within Intel's New Business Initiatives division. Earlier this year, he joined Humanity's team as Conscious Business Coordinator. And John, it's so great to have you here with us. And John, it's been great to have you host the Living in Oneness Summit with Dee and me. And I want to just ask you, how has the summit impacted you?
Well, first I'd just say, I'm really so happy to be part of the Humanities team, and I feel really lucky to have been able to be part of the summit and host and interview some of these great speakers. And overall, the impact is I appreciate the incredible depth and clarity of wisdom that so many people shared, and I feel like we received from the highest transcendent truths down to the most practical advice for how you live an awakened life. And, another big impression for me from all this is just how fast this global transition is happening. It's made me reflect, I think back in the 70s and 80s and 90s compared to now, and I find and see, people are rapidly having awakenings and growth that in the past took, many months and years of spiritual practice, and it seems so accelerated. And this was really clear during the summit and throughout the various things that were shared. And it was also really clear that 2012 and 2013 was a huge turning point in humanity's collective awakening. I experienced that in my life, and I was really inspired and awed to hear that expressed in so many different ways by the summit speakers.
Mm.
It sounds like many of us have experienced this shift in 2012 and 2013. And how is everything unfolding more rapidly? How did you see that reflected in what was shared during the Living in Oneness sessions, John?
In many ways, and kind of like you're saying, Dee, there's way more to answering that question than we have time for. But I did sit thinking about this, and I think that for me, two big truths that stand out for me that the summit made really clear. And the first is that how at this time, individual awakenings are now blossoming into this collective awakening in a way we've never seen before. And, the second big truth for me is that this collective awakening of humanity is really unstoppable. And in fact, in highest truth, on one level, it's already a done deal. So those are the two big points. And, I think Barbara Max Hubbard expressed the first point really beautifully when she opened up the summit, and on her interview she spoke about how the impulse of creation, or what she called this process of evolution, is incarnating into each of us. That awakening is blossoming to reveal our own unique contribution to what's unfolding collectively. And as she described it, this is a unique, each of us is unique, but we're all one. It's this multi-human whole. And I love how, I think this is something that's many are recognizing this truth. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk, put it beautifully that the next Buddha will be the collective. So, and this showed up in so many ways throughout the summit. There's so many of the speakers talked about individual awakening and embodiment within these 5 areas of life that we talked about on the summit, and how that's unfolding collectively. And we are experiencing this and co-creating this incredible evolution of life. And this was really clear in the summit. And I love the way, the finale here with Tim Freak's talk with Steve, it kind of pulled it all together for me. So much of it was covered. The both human and divine experience that we're going through. So that was the first big point. The second big truth that for me rang really loud and clear during the summit is that this collective awakening is unstoppable. And there are a couple of points really that shine through. Again, going back to Barbara Max Hubbard, when she was wrapping up her session and she read from her book, The 52 Codes of Conscious Evolution, the 52nd code in that book, the last one, is victory is assured to all those whose consciousness is shifting. And Barbara explaining that victory that's the global oneness, and it's the direction of evolution. It's the intention of creation. It's the driving force of all life. And so, I think that point came out really loud and clear right at the start of the summit. And in other ways, I think one that also mentioned, that Steve mentioned before, is Patricia Cota-Robles. She spoke about this when she said, that God-victorious ascension of Earth has already been accomplished in the realm of cause. And she went on to explain that, nothing can prevent that from now manifesting in the outer world. So, and those two comments really gave me goosebumps. I had a powerful experience of that myself this summer. That how this awakening, it's already the reality, even if we don't see it necessarily on the manifest level.
Yeah, boy, beautiful. I love that. John, of course, I feel the same way. This is unstoppable. I think we 3 hosts, you too, would come in on that. This is unstoppable. We need to do the conscious work here now, but this is going to a certain destination. John, let me come in with a question. You spoke recently about how you'd experienced a powerful shift in awareness in 2013, and many people have experienced this in different ways. Would you be willing to share about how you experienced this?
Yes, I'll try to put it in words. And it's not something I've shared with a lot of people, but feels like it's kind of something that wants to be shared more broadly. But this past summer, I experienced a revelation that was like a deeper embodiment of my spiritual awakening, a dozen years ago. And it's kind of a paradox, Steve, because oneness doesn't become more one. And yet, that essence of that original awakening became revealed in sort of a deeper way. I don't have a good vocabulary for it, but I had a powerful experience of the awakening of all humanity, of all life, as being already fully, completely consummated, ceaselessly so. It's like this ceaseless explosion of love. And I experienced that without a doubt, that beyond this dimension of linear time that we're experiencing day to day, in the absolute reality, it's a done deal. And this was something kind of like beyond the body, yet at the same time, it was blazing in every cell of my body. I was probably more in my body and had been more embodied with this than ever before. Came back from that with still the deep human experience of coming down to earth and seeing the mess that we of humanity, but seeing the perfection in it at the same time. And I've had it, for years since the awakening. There's this deep knowing that no matter how messed up the world appears, there is this deep level that all is well. But when this happened this summer, I got this in a much more powerful, deeper way. And, I'll share how this came about. Sort of took me by surprise because, my awakening years ago is a bit like many have described. It's this, falling away of the separate me and this sudden dramatic shift. And it, transformed my life. But for most of these past dozen years, I really didn't share it with people. I didn't speak about it. I just kind of chopped wood and carried water, as they say in Zen. I just lived my life. But a couple of years ago, things began to shift for me, and Spirit really moved me to sort of bring the awakening out of the closet and start speaking about it. And I began teaching meditation at Intel, like you mentioned, and outside of Intel, doing these collective awakening retreats with some dear friends. And so in the midst of when all that was happening, I had a powerful revelation. This revelation happened, and I don't have words for it other than I can say, I could sum it up as, a giant yes. I mean, a yes that, so immense, the experience that hit me was, I feel however big the Big Bang was, that was like a sneeze compared to what this yes of the universe is. And it was so powerful that at the time this was happening, I was kind of oblivious to everyone around me, and I literally started just screaming at the top of my lungs, this yes, just over and over, screaming yes and yes. And this is not normal behavior for me, I can tell you, but really what happened, as best as I can describe it, is this immense creative power of evolution seized me, and there was no separate me in that. It was just the oneness of that. And I know many people have had this experience in different forms, but I feel that yes is reverberating in as the divine essence in every cell of our bodies. It's in every atom. It's what's driving evolution. And so I smiled. Barbara Max Hubbard at one point in her talk made this comment, said, yes awakens the power of the potential of that force of creation. And I feel like this was kind of a visceral, powerful experience of that. And so I wanted to share, I wrote down a few things after that, and I'll read a few of the words. It says, the complete awakening of everything is fully present and consummated right now. Humanity and all of life is already awakened. It's a done deal. It's over. The One is ceaselessly making ecstatic love to the One. This is always and ever will be the One reality. The One is both completely void and simultaneously bursting with a fullness, a nothing that's ceaselessly bursting itself as everything, and a churning of perpetual ecstatic loving bliss. And so that yes is that this is a declaration or an imprint of that this is already the case beyond this dimension. It's a done deal, even if it's not, if we don't see it manifest in form right now.
Yeah,
wow.
Beautiful. With your permission, John, I'm going to go into the listener part just so we stay on track here. But I want to say, I so relate to that, of course. I think maybe Dee was just about to say the same thing, Dee. But yes, absolutely. And of course, I think when we left the careers that we left on, we knew it then, didn't we? Because a life is a precious thing, and we have partners, and two of us are married, and we have kids. So you don't just go throw your life off, randomly in a direction. We felt that indeed it was the Earth's moment. This new age was being ushered in, and we were being invited along with many, many others to usher it in, and that its destination is certain. And now, just this conscious work, because most people in the world around us don't feel it. They read the media and their newspapers and things, and don't see it at all. So, just transmuting and uplifting these misqualified energies is such a key part, because it'll make this path less arduous for all of those on the earth, even as we know that our destination is certain, that heaven is being restored on the earth. Let me get to comments here. Okay. Yeah, John?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, that's the amazing part of all this, is we come back to just our basic human experience and embracing all of what you said, all the suffering on the planet, and within ourselves and within everyone, and holding that from a place that knows that it ultimately will all be transmuted. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, John, that was so beautiful what you shared. Oh, my God, I could just feel your heart. Dee, you too. Thank you. Really beautiful. Here's a comment from Monica in Frankfurt, Germany. She says, Dear Steve, John, Dee, and team, Patricia Cota-Robles has made me aware of your summit, and I joined instantly at the beginning of the week. I have not regretted it one bit. What a brilliant idea it is to use the modern media for such high purpose. Thank you for being such inspiring people. In the meantime, I have had a long and deep look at your website, and I'm even more amazed at the work you are doing. Such a service to us all. I had no idea that the existence of your organization. Now I am feeling even more connected to the all. It makes me determined to join my country's activities in the humanities team. Truly a world living in the highest sense of the words, and networking at the source, capital S, so at God. I can't thank you enough for the inspirations and putting words, visions into action. Fireworks every day. So funny. That was from Monica in Frankfurt, Germany. Thank you. And let's see, Bonnie in Castro Valley says, May 7 was my birthday. I'm celebrating my birthday for a full month. Thanks for giving me a great way to celebrate. And Bonnie, I'm joining with you in that. I love to celebrate for a full month too. I'm sure there are other people here celebrating their birthday. Jean in Gauteng says, Jean from South Africa, wonderful, inspiring. Wish for more hours in my day to listen. A million thanks to you all for changing lives. And then Eliza in Suffern, New York says, it is impossible to be connected to all these amazing people. How do you choose which inspiration to go with? It's all a little overwhelming. Well, Eliza, it is for us too. But that's the thing, is it's so beautiful, and to hear these authentic paths and tools that people have, and that's part of the mission of Humanities Team, is just to identify these amazing leaders, to bring them to call so you can hear from them and choose what resonates for you as your own spiritual tools. It says at some point, if you all can put your moments here, it would really help me out. So, do keep your comments and things coming. Kate in Flagstaff, Arizona, I'm wondering if anyone is applying enlightened business principles in Native American or other indigenous communities. If so, we'd like to connect. We'll be starting the Native Women's Empowerment Institute here at the Navajo Nation and want to build spirituality into the program at all levels. Do you want to, John, give them Kate, your email address? She's in Flagstaff, Arizona.
I'm sorry, that's my email address?
Yeah, she was wanting to know, just as for spiritually conscious business.
Yeah, I think just my humanities team address would be great. Or let me give you this one. It's John C. Thomas, the number 2, @frontier.com.
Okay, thank you, John. Yeah, we'd love to connect with you on what you're doing with Native Americans and
yes.
and indigenous communities in the area of spiritually conscious business. That was from Kate in Flagstaff, Arizona. Malaya in Oregon House, California says, I'm Malaya, originally from Bucharest, Romania, now living in California, and just wanting to say hello. Zoya and Turlock, thank you for allowing me to be part of this beautiful gathering. Just imagine what we can do with a love like this. My love to all of the heart-centered beings who participated. That's from Zoya in Turlock, California. Genevieve in Quebec, Canada, thank you so much for all the knowledge you have passed on. It is she was the person that talked about curing herself, which is so incredibly profound. Joseph says, how do I become a healer and how do I become healer, feel the need in my heart? How do I become a healer, maybe, was the question. And Joseph, one thing you might want to do is listen in to these last 48 hours of replays, because there's so much information that's been shared about healing, even in this morning's call. So listen to some of these free replays and see if there's some wisdom that you connect with that's valuable for you. Maria in Santiago, Chile says, thank you very much for the great inspiration from Chile, South America. Thank you, Maria. And Monica in Santa Rosa, California, thank you so much for all the amazing people that shared their journey with us. Love is the key for happiness. Imagine a world with love and everyone living in peace. It is possible. Just open your heart and spread the love, peace and love. Thank you from Monica in Santa Rosa, California. And Maria in Cyprus says, being 10 hours ahead of you made for strange listening hours. But I just wanted to say that I have had a terrific summit with you all. Thank you. Looking forward to the next one. Wow, Maria in Cyprus, thanks so much for taking the time to be a part of this summit, even with being 10 hours ahead. Caroline in Zurich says, great summit. I enjoyed it very much. So inspirational. Great work with all the organizations. Thank you very much. We've got a large listening audience here, by the way. Linda in Newark says, in the 90s, I taught yoga at the University of Delaware, and the work I was doing was very powerful. I had difficulty articulating what I was doing. I knew I was unifying the field. After the summit, I know that I was activating oneness, very clear. This week, I was also participating with another summit called Thyroid Sessions with Sean Crookston. 110,000 people participated. This says to me that people are dealing with things with their health, and they are looking at the reins that include the medical professionals who participated. We are responsible, and we are one. And that's beautiful. Thank you. Let's see, I'll just get to one more here. Now we'll get to a few more before we close the call. Lonnie in Gold Beach says, Sri Abradio, a master from the 1950s, asked, what is God after all but an eternal child playing an eternal game in an eternal garden? Let us play, laugh, love, befriend, and embrace ourselves and each other, and there will be a lovely eternal garden on earth. The Oneness Summit planted a plantation of seeds with the summit. Thank you. I'll keep watering and fertilizing the return to the Garden of Eden. Wow, Lonnie from Gold Beach, that was really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. What an incredible quote, and it's perfect. We'll come back to some other quotes here too, but let's just take a minute. We want to share about some other calls that we're planning that we're connecting to the summit. The first one is this coming Wednesday, the 21st. It's at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. That's 9:30 Mountain time. And Dee Meyer, together with Debbie Savatsky, is going to host a 1-hour call. Dee, can you just in maybe 30 seconds tell us about that call?
Right. Yeah, Debbie is going to give us a little centering opening to the call, and then she'll be taking mini readings for all of our guests. And if you missed that during Debbie's first call, we're going to have a full hour of mini readings. So it's your opportunity to get a complimentary mini reading with Debbie and listen in as she brings wisdom in. Oftentimes this message is for everyone listening in.
And Debbie is amazing. Oh, my God. Debbie Savatsky, you maybe caught her session during the Living in Oneness Summit. She's so authentic and has such a powerful gift of connecting with the archangels and other heavenly resources and really connecting them with you. So that's this coming Wednesday, the 21st of May, and it's at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time for an hour. And then a week later, exactly a week later, on Wednesday, the 28th of May, again at 8:30 Pacific time, John Thomas is going to host an incredible program with Intel employees. And John, can you quickly tell us about that call?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I'll have the pleasure of interviewing Lindsay Van Drill and Kwa Veda, who are two the main leaders at Intel for this Awake at Intel. It's a mindfulness program that teaches meditation and incredible presence and wonderful ways of how do you bring oneness into the workforce. And they'll have some great perspectives to share.
Okay, don't miss that call. Yeah, Awake at Intel. And John Thomas co-created it with these peoples, Quay and some other leaders from Intel Corporation. Going to be an amazing discussion Wednesday the 28th at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Then on Thursday, June 9th.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that moved to 10 a.m.
It did.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's 10 a.m.
Okay.
28th.
10 a.m. Pacific time on the 28th. Okay.
Yes.
Apologies. And then the next bonus call for people that are buying these upgrade packages, which support them and Humanity's team. The gold and platinum upgrade packages. Neil Donald Walsh, our founder, is doing a call Thursday, June 19th from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's Thursday, June 19th for a half hour with Neil Donald Walsh. So that'll be another really exciting one. So on the subject of the upgrades, first, I want to share we've got the 48-hour free replays for these programs. So be sure to check out the replays for programs that you've missed. And then where you do find that there's incredible wisdom that you want to come back to and you want to share with friends and family, we have this $100 discount on the summit, which gets the price down considerably to $93, $93, $173, and $223 on these packages. So, and that allows you to just come back again and again to the wisdom that was shared during the summit for this year's program and for last year's program in the case of the Platinum. I want to just thank so much all of you listeners. But as we're thanking you, let's just bring on to the line some of our leaders. We want to just create some time to thank everybody. Nanette Kennedy, are you on the line? Carrie Beach, are you on the line? Okay, well,
Steve.
there they are. Carrie Beach, Nanette Kennedy. Oh, my gosh, let me just share. Angie Lyle, Julie Cole, Todd Kramer, Jewel, Garth. Oh, you can hear you can hear these people in the background. For people that don't know, Humanity's team is almost all volunteer. We've been doing this for years. We not only aren't paid, we cover our own expenses. And these amazing people, Nanette Kennedy, Angie Lyle, Julie Cole, Todd Kramer, Carrie Beach, Jewel, Garth, and many others made this summit possible. And without their help, we could have never done this summit that is doing this incredible spiritual outreach all over the world. So shout out to you all. Thank you so much for just your incredible, incredible work. And let's hear a shout back from you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Much love, everyone.
All right. Much love to you all. Couldn't have done this summit without you, and thank you so much. And I want to thank my mom, Linda Small Farrell, who has been a part of the summit and helps us out in so many ways, and other moms and family members that have helped us out. Want to thank again the co-hosts of this summit, Dee Meyer and John Thomas, Nanette Kennedy. Oh, my God. These programs we've been broadcasting live over 2 a day, or at least 2 a day since May 7th, and so much gratitude to you and the listeners. Oh, my God, we are just so grateful, so grateful. There are comments still pouring in. Sue from Arlington Heights, Illinois says, this is who we really are. Thank you for helping me to remember. Every day this week I took an hour in my office and listened at my desk, full of gratitude and joy for everyone who participated. And thank you so much for sharing that, Sue. And Angela in Anniston, Alabama says, thank you so much. Michelle in Arles, France. Lynn McTaggart wrote about the experiment where people use the power of their minds to see if they could affect the world. It is no longer an experiment. The summit made it clear that we are doing it real now. 9 hours ahead of you guys. Oh, geez. Michelle in Arles, France. Thank you, and thank you for tuning into the summit when you're 9 hours ahead of our time. And Anna in Croatia says, thank you for all your love. And Anna, back at you. Thank you for all your love. Serena in Vancouver, Canada says, thank you for confirming my trust that all is well placed. Thank you. Thank you for the love to all of you. I feel privileged to know you.
We want to get in one more big thank you, and that's a thank you to you for your leadership and this whole Living in Oneness Summit. It's been such a wonderful experience, and we are grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you, Dee and John. Thank you so much. Well, I'll receive that, and I hope you're receiving that too, and Nanette and Carrie and all of you, Angie, Todd, all of you, thank you so much. And listeners, thank you. We are now